Picture this. Indonesia's president wakes up one morning, scrolls through the news, and sees Malaysians celebrating something that makes his blood boil. Not a political victory, not a trade deal, but an upgrade so significant that it's reshaping the entire region's future, and Indonesia is being left behind. This isn't about pride anymore. This is about power, money, and who controls Southeast Asia's destiny. And Malaysians just made a move that changed everything. If you're watching this right now, I need your help with something. My friend from Indonesia told me Malaysians don't really care about what happens in our own backyard, that we're too busy with our own lives to notice the big changes happening around us. But I know that's not true. If you believe Malaysians deserve to know what's really going on in our region and how it affects our future, show some support right here. Let's prove that we actually pay attention to what matters. Assalamualaikum. So what exactly happened that got Indonesia's leadership so worked up? Malaysia just secured a massive infrastructure upgrade that Indonesia has been fighting for years to get. We're talking about digital connectivity infrastructure that will pump billions into our economy and position Malaysia as Southeast Asia's digital hub. And Indonesia? They're watching from the sidelines, wondering how their much larger country, with a much bigger population, got outmaneuvered by their smaller neighbor. Let me break down exactly what happened and why this matters more than you think. The upgrade everyone's talking about is Malaysia's new Subsea cable network. Now, I know what you're thinking. Cables? That's what all this fuss is about? But these aren't just any cables. These are the digital highways that carry every single piece of data flowing through Southeast Asia. Every Netflix show you stream, every video call you make, every ringgit transferred online. All of it flows through these cables. And Malaysia just became the region's central station. The key project is the Southeast Asia-Japan 2 cable system, and Malaysia landed a major landing station in Malacca. This cable connects Southeast Asia directly to Japan, Australia, and beyond, with speeds hitting 144 terabits per second. That's faster than anything Indonesia currently has. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just about speed. It's about geography, strategy, and cold, hard cash. Malaysia sits at one of the most strategic points on Earth for digital infrastructure. The Strait of Malacca, which Indonesia shares with us, is already the world's busiest shipping lane. Now imagine that same strategic advantage, but for data. Every major tech company, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, they all need their data to flow through Southeast Asia to reach billions of users. And they're choosing Malaysia as their preferred route. Why Malaysia and not Indonesia? 3 reasons. And this is where Indonesia's frustration really makes sense. First, political stability and ease of doing business. Malaysia has positioned itself as a reliable, business-friendly environment for tech infrastructure. Our approval processes are faster, our regulations are clearer, and international companies know they can build here without endless bureaucratic delays. Indonesia, despite being 4 times our size, has struggled with regulatory complexity. Projects that should take months in Malaysia can drag on for years in Indonesia. Tech companies don't have that kind of patience. Second, our existing infrastructure. Malaysia already had the foundation in place. We've been building up our digital infrastructure for years, investing in data centers, improving our connectivity, creating tech parks. When these massive cable projects came looking for landing spots, Malaysia was ready. Indonesia had to play catch-up, and in the tech world, second place might as well be last place. Third, and this is the part that really stings for Indonesia, is our relationship with Singapore. Singapore is already Southeast Asia's undisputed tech and financial hub. Malaysia's proximity and strong connections with Singapore create a natural partnership. Data flows from the region into Malaysia, then connects seamlessly to Singapore's massive data center ecosystem. Indonesia is geographically further from Singapore's infrastructure sweet spot, making it a less attractive option for companies wanting that Singapore connection without Singapore's sky-high costs. Now let's talk about what this actually means in ringgit and sen, because this is where the story gets wild. Every single data center that gets built in Malaysia because of this improved connectivity brings in hundreds of millions in investment. Microsoft announced a 4 billion ringgit investment in Malaysian data centers and cloud infrastructure just last year. Google, Amazon Web Services, they're all expanding their Malaysian operations. These aren't small projects. We're talking about facilities the size of football fields, filled with servers, creating thousands of jobs and pumping money into local economies. But here's what most people miss. The real money isn't in building the data centers, it's in the ongoing operations. These facilities need constant power, 24/7 cooling, security, maintenance, technical staff. A single large data center can consume as much electricity as a small city and pays premium rates for guaranteed uptime. That's sustained revenue flowing into Malaysian utility companies, Malaysian contractors, Malaysian workers, year after year after year. Indonesia looks at this and sees what could have been theirs. With 275 million people compared to Malaysia's 33 million, Indonesia should be the obvious choice. Their market is massive, their potential is enormous. But potential doesn't build data centers. Infrastructure does, business environment does, and Malaysia built both while Indonesia was still planning. Here's where it gets even more interesting. This isn't just about current technology, this is about positioning for the future. Artificial intelligence, cloud computing, autonomous vehicles, smart cities, all of these next-generation technologies need massive amounts of data transfer. The countries with the best digital infrastructure will become the regional hubs for these industries. Malaysia just secured that position. Indonesia is scrambling to catch up. Think about it like this. Imagine two coffee shops on the same street. One invested early in a great location, quality equipment, and built a loyal customer base. The other shop is bigger, has more space, more potential customers nearby, but they waited too long to renovate and improve their service. Now customers are used to going to the first shop. Even if the second shop finally upgrades, changing customer habits is incredibly hard. That's Malaysia and Indonesia right now in the digital infrastructure game. The Indonesian government sees this happening and they're not happy. President Prabowo has made digital transformation a key priority. Indonesia has been pushing hard to attract tech investment, offering incentives, streamlining some processes, trying to make themselves more competitive. But Malaysia already has the momentum. We already have the cables landing on our shores, the data centers being built, the international partnerships locked in. What makes this even more frustrating for Indonesia is that some of these cable systems literally pass right by Indonesian territory on their way to Malaysia. The cables run through Indonesian waters, but they're landing in Malaysian soil. That's got to sting. It's like watching the highway to prosperity run through your backyard, but the exit ramp is at your neighbor's house. But let's be fair here. This isn't about Malaysia being better than Indonesia or Indonesia failing at everything. Indonesia has massive strengths. Their huge population makes them incredibly attractive for consumer-focused tech. Their startup ecosystem in Jakarta is thriving. They have natural resources and manufacturing capacity that Malaysia can't match. This data infrastructure situation is one specific area where Malaysia made the right moves at the right time. However, the consequences of this advantage will compound over time. Better infrastructure attracts more investment. More investment builds better infrastructure. It's a virtuous cycle for Malaysia and a challenging situation for Indonesia to break into. Every quarter that passes with Malaysia as the preferred data hub makes it harder for Indonesia to catch up. There's also a national pride element that can't be ignored. Indonesia has always seen itself as the natural leader of Southeast Asia. Biggest country, biggest population, biggest economy in ASEAN. Having smaller Malaysia outmaneuver them on something this significant is a bitter pill to swallow. It's not just about economics, it's about regional influence and prestige. And here's something most Malaysians don't even realize. This infrastructure upgrade is already affecting your daily life. Those faster internet speeds you're getting? That's partly because of improved backbone infrastructure, more stable connections for work from home, better streaming quality, more tech companies setting up offices in KL and Penang, creating jobs, all connected to Malaysia becoming a digital infrastructure hub. The ripple effects go even further. When tech companies establish their regional operations in Malaysia, they bring their entire ecosystems with them. Suppliers, partners, service providers, they all follow. Cyberjaya and Penang are transforming into genuine tech hubs, not just aspirational plans. Real companies with real jobs paying real salaries above the Malaysian average. Indonesia is watching all of this unfold and asking themselves how they let this happen. They're not going to take it lying down, though. Indonesia is now fast-tracking their own subsea cable projects, offering aggressive incentives to data center operators and trying to streamline their approval processes. They're in the game, but they're playing from behind. The competition between Malaysia and Indonesia on digital infrastructure is actually good for the region overall. It's pushing both countries to improve, to innovate, to create better business environments. Southeast Asia as a whole benefits when countries compete to offer the best infrastructure and services. But right now, in this specific race, Malaysia is clearly winning. What's the lesson in all of this? Sometimes being smaller and more agile beats being bigger and slower. Malaysia couldn't compete with Indonesia on population size or natural resources, so we competed on efficiency, strategic positioning, and speed of execution. We played to our strengths, and it paid off. For Malaysians watching this, understand that what seems like boring infrastructure news is actually shaping your economic future. The decisions being made right now about cables and data centers will determine what kinds of jobs are available in 5 years, which companies set up regional headquarters here, and how competitive Malaysia remains in the digital economy. For our Indonesian friends who might be watching, this isn't about gloating. Malaysia and Indonesia succeed together or struggle together. We're neighbors, partners, and fellow ASEAN members, but healthy competition pushes everyone to be better. So yes, Indonesia's president is frustrated. His country got outmaneuvered by a smaller neighbor on a crucial piece of digital infrastructure. Malaysia made strategic decisions years ago that are paying massive dividends now. We became the data highway everyone wants to use. And the best part? This is just the beginning. More cables are coming, more data centers are being planned, and Malaysia is positioned right at the center of it all. If you found this breakdown valuable and want to understand more about how regional competition shapes Malaysia's future, show some support. Hit that subscribe button because we're going to keep breaking down the stories that actually matter to Malaysians, not just the headlines everyone else covers. And drop a comment telling me what you think. Should Malaysia be doing more to maintain this advantage, or are we getting too comfortable with our current position? Let me know what you think. Malaysia just made a power move that will define our digital future for decades. And Indonesia is still figuring out how it happened.